Hello there, and welcome. The game on the list today is the LEGO Movie Videogame. That is, if you couldn't tell by the title. This game was released on February 17th, 2014, making it over 12 years old at the time of recording. This game was one I treasured playing as a child, but never got that sweet 100% completion before. So, I'm going to do exactly that in this video. To get 100% in the LEGO Movie Videogame, I'm going to have to collect all 49 trophies, 75 golden instruction manuals, 15 pairs of pants, track down 20 red bricks, earn 80 gold bricks, and not to forget the 96 characters in the game as well. On paper, it sounds simple. It is a LEGO game after all. Why wouldn't it be simple? But actually doing all that is a very different story. So in this video, I'm going for the full 100% and breaking down the events that unfold into 3 different categories. The first playthrough, the second playthrough, and lastly going back through to get all the miscellaneous stuff along the way. So get comfy, maybe grab a snack or two, and enjoy. The prologue level for the LEGO Movie Videogame is honestly one of the more forgettable levels in the history of all LEGO games. That is, the ones I've played at least. Not only does it take a mere few minutes to complete, there's also just no replayability with the level, no collectibles to come back for as well, but completing it does get us our first trophy, and the first of our 80 gold bricks. On quite the opposite note, Bricksburg's construction, the first official level in my opinion, is one of my favorites for a few different reasons. First of them being for nostalgia reasons, mostly from playing this game endlessly as a kid, mostly because of the dance-off with other construction workers towards the end of the level. I just remember playing this part over and over with my siblings as a kid, and just having a straight blast. And also not to forget the other 3 trophies which I got during this level, which I'm going to pop up on screen now, along with another pair of pants, getting us 2 more gold bricks for the completion of this level. Escape from Bricksburg is one of those levels that feel more important story-wise than it does from a gameplay perspective. It's a pretty linear level, but it does a solid job of pushing the plot forward and transitioning us out into the opening section of the game into a more Wild West. Completion-wise, there isn't much anything too important here. We pick up another trophy just for finishing the level, along with 2 standard gold bricks, earning an extra one for achieving the special status. Flatbush Gulch is where the game decides to change up things a bit as we're dropped straight out of the sky into the Wild West. And honestly, I'd have to say the Wild West hub world is probably the most forgettable out of the 4, well technically 5 if you count the bonus room, mostly because of how small it is compared to places like Bricksburg or even the Octan Tower. And as for gold brick and level completion trophies at the end of every level, I'm just going to start putting a counter on screen for now, because it already feels a bit repetitive at this point, and I'm only on level 3 so far. Flatbush Rooftops feels like a natural extension of Flatbush Gulch, but with more chaos mixed in, given that this entire level, there's rocket shooting in the background. What the developers were probably going for was definitely more of an action scene, and honestly I think they did a pretty okay job with this level. Not much else can be said besides we get to kill a whole bunch of robots. Overall, Flatbush Gulch isn't the most memorable level, but what comes next I personally believe to be the best level of all the western levels in this game. Escape from Flatbush is where the Wild West section really peaks. This level feels faster, more focused, and way more fun than the last few levels combined, especially with the soundtrack adding to the atmosphere, mostly because it finally feels like something's actually happening. There's constant movement, a clear sense of urgency, and for once it doesn't feel like we're just wandering around shooting robots for the sake of it. Gameplay-wise, this is easily the most enjoyable western level. There's a good mix of combat, traversal, and it does a much better job at capturing the chaos of the movie scene it's based on. Everything feels more intentional here, like the developers knew this was going to be a level people were actually going to remember. As for completion's sakes, things stay simple. We get 2 whole trophies for this level, one for my own stupidity in trying to master build with Emmett, and then the standard level completion trophy. Overall, this is easily a standout level of the Wild West section, and I would say a nice high note before the game moves into something completely different. The opening level to Cloud Cuckoo Land is where the game takes a break from all the destruction and punching of different robots, but not for long. This level is easily one of the brightest and most energetic levels so far, and I personally believe out of the entire game as well. Everything is colorful, upbeat, and just full-on LEGO creativity, which makes it stand out immediately when compared to the more grounded Wild West and Bricksburg levels. This level gives quite a lot for the big 100% we're trying to achieve, giving us another trophy for the completion, and another 3 golden pages just on the first playthrough, making this level going to be a whole lot easier for the free play later down the line. Also, Batman being surrounded by rainbows and happy music is honestly just a fun contrast, and it fits the tone of the movie perfectly. Overall, this level is energetic and fun, much less than the destruction and chaos that lies only one level ahead. Attack on Cloud Cuckoo Land wastes absolutely no time changing the pace. Where the last level was bright, upbeat, and almost peaceful by LEGO standards, this one immediately pulls the rug out from under that. From what was once a bright, colorful place just a level ago is now full of destruction and heartbreak. We also unlock Benny, who is easily my favorite character from the movie. Batman is a close second, but Benny wins purely just because of the little computer mini-games he has, which honestly brings me hell of nostalgia when playing them. From a trophy standpoint, this level gives us a bit more to work with. We pick up the opposite of happiness trophy from Goody Kitty having a justified crash out, followed by the standard level completion trophy once it's all finished. And with Cloud Cuckoo Land officially under attack, the game doesn't really slow down from here, it just keeps pushing forward with the next level. Escape from Cloud Cuckoo Land keeps the intensity going, but shifts the focus from an all-out chaos to just trying to get out in one piece. This level feels more urgent than difficult, with everything pushing you forward instead of asking you to slow down and explore. There isn't a whole lot to stop for here on this level, besides grabbing the level complete trophy, of course. And honestly, I think it works in the level's favor. It gives it a feeling like the game is intentionally funneling you out of Cloud Cuckoo Land, setting the stage for the next area, and in my opinion, I believe that this next level is probably one of the worst out of the entire game. The Depths is easily one of the more unfun levels in the game, at least I would say. Mostly because I remember as a child being terrified of that one really dark underwater section where the eel keeps popping out of the walls. I also had quite the fear of drowning as a kid. I'm sure that had nothing to do with it, and the mechanical swordfish on top didn't exactly help. Even if it was LEGO, my little kid brain did not care. The only other thing I would take note of this level is the silly little moment Benny has when he somehow shoots a torpedo through the entirety of the sub, submerging everybody in water. Oh, and the level completion trophy as well. The Depths is a slight nuisance of a level, but honestly I believe that's what makes it very memorable, at least. Out of all the levels in the game, I actually remember the Depths more than most for this reason. Infiltrate Octan Tower is pretty much exactly what it says it is. There isn't anything too flashy going on here. Most of the level is spent working our way through the tower, building the Octan ship piece by piece, because from here on out, the game starts leaning much harder into the story and the stakes around stopping Lord Business. Oh, and we also can't forget the level complete trophy. But the thing on the thing is a standard level that has us taking pictures and having a dance off with robots, which I did perfectly in, of course, giving us another trophy for such an achievement, also along with another one for completing all the storyline instruction builds, and not to forget collecting the 2nd out of 15 pairs of pants necessary for the completion. And if you saw the movie, you know that Emmett fails, giving us a 1v1 with Vitruvius and Lord Business, with Vitruvius cosplaying as my ranked teammates, getting himself taken out by a penny. With all that, the level wraps up giving us another trophy for the completion. Broadcast News is definitely one of the better levels, essentially because it can be summed up with just one sentence. Emmett and the crew essentially dropping a diss track so effective on Lord Business that Bad Cop fully switches sides and tells the team to build a spaceship to blow a hole in the side of the Octan Tower. But besides that rather humorous gameplay, we get only one trophy for the completion of this level. Back from reality is where things get a little bit more unhinged, starting almost immediately with Gale dropping what might be my new favorite slur for robots.
Heads up, calculator face!
Another funny moment I would like to point out is when Emmett confidently says,
"No chance. We built this thing to withstand anything."
And only a minute later the structure collapses. This level is pretty much Emmett realizing that the fact he's the chosen one and learns how to master build finally, and at this point the game doesn't really slow down much from here. There's barely a pause between levels now, so we're immediately thrown onto the next level. Bricksburg Under Attack is a level where I honestly think they should have just made the final level in the game, like throw in a Lord Business fight at the end and just call it there. Anyways, the city's in chaos, enemies are everywhere, and somehow in the middle of it, Superman absolutely refuses to pipe down. He's only a playable character in this level for like maybe a good 4 minutes, and every 3 seconds the man has a different voice line. In this level you also get to play as a few different DC superheroes, earning us the trophy "I Super Hate You Right Now" from Superman and Green Lantern having a one-sided relationship. In the end we get another trophy, and by now I think the game makes it evidently clear that we're in the end game now. But that brings us into our final story level, and one that I believe was done rather poorly, but enough yapping out of me, let's continue. The final showdown brings Lord Business back into the picture, still clearly holding a grudge over that diss track from earlier, and he challenges us to one last duel. It's a big confrontation the entire story has been building towards, and finishing it earns the "You Can Still Change" trophy. And this is where I'll give my honest opinion. Hate me if you want, but I do think the final level could have been a bit better. The fight itself isn't bad, but I feel like it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting with the music and movie cutscenes. If those weren't here, the finale would be pretty barren gameplay-wise. Yeah, luckily, those are huge parts of the game, and that's why it works in the first place. The soundtrack, the humor, and the scenes pulled straight from the movie are what made me want to come back to this game after so long, even though I unfortunately can't show most of that in the video due to copyright reasons. And just like that, the main story is done from start to finish. The entire playthrough took around 4 hours, which honestly felt pretty fitting considering the movie itself was only about an hour and 45 minutes long. But that's the part where it really puts things into perspective. After finishing the story mission, we're only hitting a good 23.5% completion. The credits may rule, but the platinum grind is still just getting started. There's still a lot left to clean up. So straight after completing the main story, I figured the best option is to get some red bricks to make replaying all the levels much easier. And don't worry, I'm not going to make you sit through me replaying all the levels. This video would get way too long. From here on out, I will just be touching up on what trophies I get and different things I found cool while replaying the levels throughout the rest of the game. Now, since there's still quite a lot left to do, so let's get started. The first trophy on the chopping block is the "I Am the Computer" trophy for collecting all the studs in Benny's minigame. We get another for using Lord Business's big Lego form. Then it's time to set a barn on fire as Lady Liberty, with Abraham Lincoln accompanying us, make a custom character, switch from alive to dead Vitruvius, switch from good to bad cop, along with getting 2 different trophies for collecting all the characters. Collecting all the red bricks throughout the hub world, build a spaceship as Benny, and you can't simply forget the trophy for cosplaying as Orion Handawi in LEGO. I have no idea if I said his name correctly, I apologize. Earning us the business trophy. Then after going back through all the levels, we got 4 more different trophies, one for collecting all the pants, gold bricks, special statuses, and lastly the golden instruction manuals. Now that I have played through all the free play levels, I do have some choice words to say. Some good, but mostly bad. For free play, these levels are cool because every level has their own secret room. My favorite thing being on the Flatbush rooftops, there's this little shooting game where the robots run across the field. It's completely unique, and I think it's kind of cool little treat you get for replaying, but this is about all that's good that comes from free play. Personally, I believe if you do not plan on getting the 100% for this game, I honestly don't recommend free play. Maybe it's just because I was playing on the PS3, but I counted my game either soft locking or freezing a total of 10 times throughout free play. It didn't happen a single time during the first playthrough. Also, to add on to it, for some reason they took out all the voice lines. And the music, for the most part, when the music's playing, it's like playing the wrong track or switching haphazardly, like it can't choose what it wants to play. Like, I love this game, but I feel like it should have had a few more months of development time to it. Probably not entirely TT's Game's fault, saying they were under Warner Bros. I think they got bought out by Warner Bros. During this time, but they were probably forced to pump out the game as quickly as possible to try and make a profit from how well the movie did in theaters. But I digress. Let's continue on to the 100%. Now, technically, I already got the 100% back when I got the last of the gold bricks, but to get the last of the trophies, I still have 10 left. So I got started with Midas Touch, given that one would take the longest. Then I moved on to some more random ones, getting the end of the line, kill 20 enemies with Sheriff Not a Robot, killing 50 enemies with Blackbeard, killing 20 more enemies with Cowboy Emmett, and finally killing 10 more enemies with Lord Business's Craggle Gun. Now, if you were counting, that only leaves us with 4. Starting off with Bad Cop chucking a chair into the abyss for no apparent reason, blowing up the invisible jet, and I'm not saying the name of this one, bringing us to finally getting the Platinum Trophy, marking the end of this journey. I personally thank you all for watching, it means a whole lot to me, and of course if you enjoyed the video I'm going to ask you to subscribe, but only if you enjoyed. I figure if you're watching to this point you must have found the video at least slightly entertaining. It would mean a lot to me given that I'm an extremely small channel, but to finally put the video to an end, I hope every single one of you who have watched have a spectacular day.